66 million years ago, this morning started like every other morning. The sun rose slowly over a world nothing like the one you know today. Forests covered everything, pole to pole, coast to coast. The oceans were warmer and deeper. The air was richer in oxygen, and the ground trembled every single time something enormous moved across it. This was the age of dinosaurs, and it had been going on for 160 million years. To understand how long that is, humans have existed for only 300,000 years. Dinosaurs ruled this planet for 500 times longer than we have been alive. 500 times. They were not struggling. They were not in decline. They were thriving, perfectly adapted, completely dominant. They were not going anywhere. And then, at exactly 6:41 in the morning, the sky changed. It began as a point of light, smaller than a star, barely visible in the dawn sky, moving across the horizon slowly at first, then faster than anything that had ever crossed that sky in the history of the planet. Some of the dinosaurs looked up. We know this because we know where they were standing when they died. And what they saw in those final seconds was something no brain on Earth had a category for. A light that filled half the sky. A roar that arrived after the light. A heat that followed immediately after the roar. And then nothing. The asteroid that ended the age of dinosaurs was 12 kilometers wide. Not 12 meters. 12 kilometers. The size of a mountain, moving at 70,000 kilometers per hour. When it hit the shallow tropical sea, covering what is now the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico, the explosion released more energy in 1 second than every nuclear weapon ever built, detonated at the same moment, multiplied by 10 billion. In the first second, everything within 1,000 kilometers ceased to exist. Not burned, not destroyed, ceased, vaporized instantly into superheated gas. The impact punched a hole in the Earth's crust 30 kilometers deep. Pieces of rock were blasted upward with such force that they escaped Earth's atmosphere entirely. Actual pieces of the planet drifted into space that day. Some of them eventually reached the moon. Some reached Mars. Pieces of Earth from that single impact are still traveling through the solar system right now. The shockwave traveled through the ground at the speed of sound and triggered earthquakes on every continent simultaneously. Every fault line on the planet cracked at once. The largest earthquake ever recorded in human history measured 9.5. The earthquake from this impact measured 11. There is no instrument humans have ever built that could have measured it properly. The oceans responded to the earthquake with a wave. A single wave, hundreds of meters tall, moving at the speed of a commercial aircraft. It reached North America within hours. It reached Europe. It reached Asia. Every coastline on Earth was erased in a single day. But here is the thing that most people never realize. The impact itself did not kill the dinosaurs. What killed them was what happened in the weeks and months after. The debris from the impact, vaporized rock, ash, soot from wildfires that burned across entire continents, rose into the upper atmosphere and spread around the entire planet within days. A layer of darkness. Not cloud cover, not winter gray, absolute darkness, as if someone had reached up and switched off the sun. The temperature dropped by 15 degrees globally within weeks, then 20, then more, and then something quiet and terrible began to happen. Photosynthesis stopped. Without sunlight, plants cannot make food. They began to die. First the smallest ones, then the large ones, then the forests. Slowly at first, then rapidly, the green world that had covered the planet for hundreds of millions of years began to go gray. The plant eaters ran out of food first, then the meat eaters ran out of plant eaters. The food chain did not break at the top, it collapsed from the very bottom. And when the foundation falls, everything above it falls with it. This process took months, not hours, not days, months. The last dinosaurs did not die in a dramatic explosion. They did not even know what had happened. They simply found, one morning, that there was nothing left to eat. They grew weak, then weaker. Then they stopped moving. Then the cold finished what the hunger had started. The last Tyrannosaurus Rex on Earth died, not with a roar, but with silence, lying still in a world that had become too cold and too dark for anything as large as it to survive. 75% of all species on Earth were gone within 1,000 years of that morning. 3/4 of everything alive simply erased. The most complete destruction of life since life began on this planet. And yet, life did not end. Because deep underground, in burrows and tunnels and hidden spaces beneath the roots of dying forests, something small was still breathing: mammals. For 160 million years, mammals had been the most irrelevant creatures on the planet. Small, furry, hiding, coming out only at night, terrified of everything larger than themselves, which was basically everything. In the world of dinosaurs, mammals were background noise, side characters. They mattered to no one. But they had two things that the dinosaurs did not. They were small, which meant they needed much less food to survive. And they could eat almost anything: seeds, insects, dead plant matter, anything the broken world still offered. When the sky went dark, the dinosaurs died, and the mammals crept out of their burrows into the ruined, quiet, cold, gray world and found something extraordinary. The monsters were gone. After 160 million years of living in the shadow of creatures that could kill them without noticing, the mammals stood in the wreckage of the old world and looked at a planet that suddenly had no rulers. Every mammal alive today is descended from those survivors. Every dog, every whale, every elephant, every bat, every chimpanzee, and every human being. You are directly descended from a small, frightened creature that hid underground while the world above it was ending and came out the other side into a planet it had never expected to inherit. The asteroid did not simply end the age of dinosaurs. It started something that would eventually become cities and languages and art and science and medicine and everything humans have ever built or thought or felt. We are here because something fell from the sky on what looked like an ordinary morning. Because the largest creatures to ever walk the earth were erased by an object that had been traveling toward them for millions of years without anyone knowing. And because the smallest, most overlooked, most frightened creatures on the planet turned out to be exactly what the world needed next. The last day of the dinosaurs was the first day of everything that followed, including the day you were born.